Hello and servus from Bavaria. Welcome to our today's webcast, also known as mCast. Today's topic is printed fabric. A couple of years back, distorted fabric during printed was actually quite common and nobody was complaining about it. These days, this is a clear no-go. How we achieve that will be the topic of the next 15-20 minutes. Let's jump right in. Welcome to today's Mahlo webcast, also known as mCast. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, you can do that right here, or you can go to our internet page mahlo.com and have a look what we present over there. My name is Stefan Keri. I'm the product manager for textiles at Mahlo, and I want to tell you a little bit about printed fabric during today's session. Here is what you can expect for the next 15 to 20 minutes. We will start with an introduction, what matters. We will look how we solve that issue of printed fabric on straight fabric. We will see some applications, and then finally, of course, we'll point out all the benefits. But before that, I would be interested in your individual issues that you have with printed fabric. Are there any? Do you face some problems? If so, just leave a comment in the comment section and we will take care of them. And most probably we can find a solution to that. But let's go into the issues of printed fabric. What is the real problem with those printed fabrics? It is the fact that once you print on a substrate, which is a skew or boat, there's no way that you can repair that. And then just remember, this step is happening at the very end of your value-added chain. What does that mean? You have put so much money, so much efforts, so much time, so much working hours, so much energy, water, auxiliaries, chemicals into that fabric before it comes to printing. If something goes wrong during that step, you have lost a lot of money. And therefore, it is absolutely mandatory that everything goes right at this step. And therefore, it has to be straight. If you have a skew or boat fabric, once you print on it, there's no way that you can fix it afterwards. Simply because once you have a straight printing pattern on a boat or skew fabric and you correct it afterwards, you have a skew or boat pattern. Nobody wants that. Nobody accepts that. So if we want to have an excellent print, it requires that you have a distortion-free fabric first of all. And that means that your pattern, your design, and your weft have to be aligned to each other. And this is the dilemma, that even if you have a fairly good maintained distortion-free fabric before the printing, just imagine what happens during the entry of the printing table. Again, your fabric will be pulled, most probably perhaps uneven, and there again some distortion might happen. But this is what we have to eliminate. And as we know, our operators these days are also not very careful when it comes to the observation of the fabric. That means they don't look. Perhaps they don't see it, perhaps they don't care, but it's always better to leave that task to a machine which have sensors, which have the right automation techniques to make sure that the fabric is always centralized, that it's always straight. And like that, you can make sure that even after the printing, you have a straight line, you have a straight design, you have a straight pattern. And therefore, you have to make sure that you have a specific straightening concept which is bringing this straight fabric right in front of your printing table. To do so, we have all in all 3 different modules. Let's start with the first one. The first one is a traditional classical segment guiding roller. This segment guiding roller makes sure that the fabric is centralized, it's opened, and it's very gently pulled into the entry of the printing device. However, it also caters for high speeds, and due to the design, it is really nearly maintenance free and you don't have many wear and tear. But as I said before, this is just a simple segment guiding roller. The real heart and the real brain of that straightening process is happening at the next step. And this is this Weft Straightener. This Weft Straightener is a very compact and a very small unit which fits perfectly into your entry of the printing machine. And like that, we can actually guarantee that you have a very fine metering of the alignment effect. Due to the compact dimension and the low product content, you can make sure that all the changes that we make have a very fast reaction time, and whatever is needed to get a straight line is happening very, very fast, and so we can guarantee a very fine tuning of the distortion. However, this machine cannot be a replacement of the big brother, the RVMC, which is having a much higher content and therefore also offering a much better correction potential. You have to make sure that during the previous process, like the drying after bleaching or drying after scouring, you really have already a fabric which is distortion free to 90–85%, simply because during the pulling of the entry of the printing machine, a lot of distortion might add on to that, and for that potential, this small unit might not be sufficient. Therefore, it is very, very important that at the previous step you take care of the bulk of the potential distortion which might happen during your production process. So, if we come to that particular unit, we have also taken care of the tension, which is right important over here because tension is creating the distortion, and here we have actually also the possibility of a load cell which is having less weight to be lifted than a pendulum compensator, and it has a very stable control of the web tension and can be easily integrated into that machine, and is also supporting that compact design, which is a clear benefit at that stage. On top of that, to make sure that this machine is always at the right position, we have a rail system. Why? Simply because, unlike the normal production, the printing always happens on the right-hand side of the application, because the fabric is always passing on the right side of the printing table and not in the center due to the printing process. And therefore, we have to make sure that when it comes to different working width, you always have a centralized fabric. However, it has to be always on this right side. And therefore, this whole unit, the second guiding roller and the weft straightener, have to move from left to right and back according to the working width. And therefore, we have this rail system which is having a lateral positioner. And on top of that, it has also a photoelectronic cell which is detecting the edge of the fabric and makes sure that according to that position, the fabric is always in the right position. Let's just have a look how it would actually look in conjunction with the printing table. You can see the rail system over here and the weft straightener on top of that. And here you can see the small distance between the straightening unit and the printing table. We really talk about centimeters here, only a very, very small way. And there's no way that during that distance any distortion might happen. So once we have really straightened the fabric over there at the weft straightener, it will be exactly like that delivered to the printing table, and in this position 100% straight, you can print on it and nothing will happen. And like that, you can make sure that your result is always on the same high quality as it is required from your customer. So again, the centering device would be on top of that, and for different weights the straightener would move to the left and to the right. If there might be for any reason something out of tolerance, then of course you have to stop the printing, because it would be no sense to continue the printing if you realize that there is any skew or bow distortion, and this is why this unit is so important. This is how it looks in real life. So here on top you have that segment guiding roller to make sure that the fabric is nicely presented to the weft straightener. Then this is the weft straightener, and you can see already here that the distance to the printing table is very, very small. And down here, this is the rail system which is moving the entire system from the left to the right and back. Here you can see the installation from another perspective, and still you see the segment guiding roller on top of it to make sure that the fabric is guided very gently to the top of the entry. Then the main subject is the weft straightener, and from this position you can see even better how small the distance between the weft straightener and the printing table is, and we are really talking about just centimeters between the alignment of the fabric, the 100% straight fabric, and the printing table. There's no way that in this distance, during that time, any distortion might be added to the fabric, and therefore you can be absolutely sure that the fabric, once it comes to the printing table, is really meeting the requirements of a perfect straight fabric. And then of course you have the rail system which makes sure that the fabric is always aligned and centralized when it comes to the printing process. Once again, it brings a lot of benefits to you, but of course the main benefit is the money. And this is what I want to show you as well. We have prepared a small calculation how much money you can save with this investment. We have just taken an operation of 240 days a year with a 3-shift operation, 24 hours, and you would produce roughly 500 meters per hour, and this ends up with nearly 3 million meters a year. We were calculating just for euros per meter, and if you would be able to reduce the percentage of reprocess or rejects from 4% down to 1%, and then you could save 170,000 euros. 170,000 euros is a lot of money, and this would be only for the first year. I think this is a strong motivation to start thinking about an investment like that. But besides the money due to the rejects, as I said before, it is also the money that you would save by not wasting all those money or all that money that you have put into the fabric before the printing, by the bleaching process, by the scouring process, and all those steps before that. However, the printing is at the end of the value-added chain, and therefore a lot of things, a lot of money is invested in the fabric, and if you don't succeed at that stage, and then all that money will be lost. On top of that, the alignment of the fabric is always at the right position. You don't need to care about that. You don't need to prepare anything for the alignment of the fabric. That will help you also saving a lot of time. Time is money, and therefore you will also have a very good impact on the entire process due to the right alignment of the fabric. Then, of course, it's about reputation. I've been a production manager myself in the past, and I know what it means to have a good relationship to the customer. And to present a perfect fabric is always the best way to build up a good relationship, to build up a good reputation with your customers, and this can't be measured with money. It is simply good for a long and fruitful relationship, and make sure that you always have a very good partnership with your customers now and in the future. And then, of course, this system is modular. You can add it into your current production process quite easily. Just drop us a mail and we can make the first steps, and we will find out how we can put this very compact and modular design into your even, let's say, old machinery, to pimp it up and to make it efficient and sophisticated on a today's level. So we have reached the end of the presentation. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, you can do that under youtube.com Mahlo, or you go to our internet platform mahlo.com. Here we have a video section where you can find all the existing videos so far, and you can also subscribe to the videos over there. Finally, if you like the presentation, just drop me a mail and I will send it to you with my best regards. And If you liked it and you feel like leaving me a thumbs up, and then of course you would make me very happy. So thank you very much for your time once again, and I hope to see you again during one of the next presentations here at the Mahlo mCast. Thank you and bye-bye.